There are two things that in my journey to overcoming Crohn's disease were more impactful than all the rest of them combined. I don't talk about them very often because I tend to sound a little delusional, a little woo-woo, little out there. And I'm a big fan of giving people actionable tips to actually act on instead of just watching another YouTube video and feeling maybe good emotionally or something, but not actually doing anything. I want you to watch these videos and then actually go do stuff and then hopefully feel better. But these two things, without them, I would have failed. It's that important. It's not that sleeping isn't important or exercise or diet or a good relationships or any of that stuff is not vital and key. You still need all of that stuff. And that's why I start there with most people, because I always say fitness is a gateway drug to self-development. You get into fitness, you start working out, you start changing your diet, you start improving your friend group because you start hanging around people that are into fitness instead of just partying every night. And slowly your life just evolves from there. So I like to start from that place. But if you're in that place, you've been taking some action, you've been taking some steps, and you're still feeling like nothing is working, nothing is clicking. I'm doing all the right things, but it's not really, it feels like I'm still missing something. This is for you. You're going to resonate with this video a lot because I was in that place for the first 6 years of my journey. I changed my diet. I can change my exercise routine. I was sleeping well. I was brought up in a very health conscious family, so I knew a lot of like what to do as far as nutrition, health, fitness, that kind of stuff. But I didn't know this stuff. And once I started the journey of this stuff, that's when it all clicked. And that's when it all changed. And frankly, this is the journey that every human being needs to go on and will lead to the place that you've always wanted to get your entire life. And I know that's a very, very bold and strong statement. So let's see if I can back it up, shall we? The first is what I like to call the knowing. And this is simply, I'm going to try to describe this in as least mystical terms as I possibly can. Because yes, it is a spiritual soul element, but I don't want you to get it all worked up in whatever religion or thing you're believing currently, or think that I'm telling you to prescribe to a certain way of thinking. No, this is a principle that works. For some reason, this is the way the universe was set up. And once you figure that out, you can unlock. It's almost like a cheat code, honestly. The knowing is simply when you know something in here before it's out there. So there was a point in my Crohn's journey where I knew so strongly that I was going to overcome this thing, that I was going to get my health back. Whether that was long-term remission or a cure, it didn't matter to me. I just knew I was going to reach a point where Crohn's disease was not a part of my life. It did not impact my life in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. And I'm at that point, and I have been for almost 6 years now without medication. So that is pretty cool. But when I knew that internally, that was not my current experience. My current experience was that I was still sick. So we've talked about before how you need to make your health your number one priority. You reach a point of decision, right? You want to plant a flag in the sand that says, not another day, not another second. I'm getting my health back, right? I'm not focusing on Crohn's disease anymore, or whatever the problem is. If you're listening to this and you don't have Crohn's, but let's say you want to make more money or anything, I want to lose some weight. It doesn't matter. I refuse to go down this road anymore. And I'm not going to look at the negative. I'm not going to say I'm trying to get away from Crohn's disease. I'm going to look at the positive. I'm going to say I am going to try and become the healthiest person I possibly can. And then eventually that will change to I am going to become the healthiest person I possibly can. And then you reach a point where it's like, I already am. I feel it in here. And all I have to do is reality almost gets pulled to you. I know that sounds kind of strange. if you've never done this before. But if you believe something strongly enough, you start operating as someone who already has that. And so the literal actions that you're taking and the way your mind is working is your mind is a supercomputer. And when you plug it into the right networks, and instead of saying, I'm trying to get away from Crohn's, or I'm the guy that's sick with Crohn's, which I would find myself telling people that all the time. Within 5 minutes of meeting somebody, I would somehow insert that I'm the guy that's sick with Crohn's. And then I realized, oh, my identity is completely wrapped to Crohn's. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about identity shift. You're making a decision. You're planting a flag in the sand. You're saying, not in a day, not another second, I'm going to become this healthy person. And then I used to think that the point of decision, everything was over. I didn't have to do any work. There would be no more doubts. And I used to think that when I did doubt, there was something wrong with me. It's like, oh, I didn't make the decision strongly enough. No, I don't think that's the case at all. You made the decision, and then you have to reinforce it over and over and over again. You're literally rewiring, this is not metaphorical or spiritual. You're rewiring parts of your brain to see yourself as a completely different person. And when you do this, it's like a superpower. You can do things that are quote unquote impossible because you believe something so strongly. And I'm not talking about being delusional here. So the difference between delusion and what I'm saying is you're actually taking actions. You're taking steps that will lead you towards that outcome. You are reassessing as you take those steps and saying, okay, that didn't work. Let me try this new thing. And the whole time you're pounding into your body through meditation, affirmation, journaling, talking to people, getting around people who have this level of certainty. If you can get around someone who has a level of certainty that whatever you're trying to do, like let's say they already did it, whatever you're trying to do that you currently think is impossible, if you get around that person, their certainty is going to leak onto you until you're almost like borrowing their belief. And eventually that belief is going to become lodged in your system. And that's why it's really important who we hang around, because it goes in the reverse direction. If you're trying to overcome Crohn's or get healthier or lose some weight and you're around a bunch of people that don't think that's possible, that is also going to leak onto you. And if you've made the decision and you're trying to make a change and you're trying to reinforce that behavior, you're in a weak place. This isn't a strong belief in your system. You're not to that place yet where if somebody says, you can't do that, you can't overcome Crohn's. This is how you know. You're like solid. And that's not a judgment if you're not there yet. It takes time. It's kind of like a wave. Like you make a decision and there's like a wave of knowing that crashes towards you. And then one day you wake up and you're just like, I don't really feel different physically, but I know this is going to happen. Like I just know in my soul, in my guts. And I know that sounds crazy, but once you get there, you're going to notice this in yourself, because when someone disagrees with you, you don't fight back. There's no anger. There's no frustration. There's no, you almost chuckle. You're just like, you can believe what you want to believe, but it's kind of amusing, honestly, that you think I'm not going to do this. And it's not fake. It's not forced. It's not, you're not out here manifesting and doing all this stuff. I think I have not talked about this very much because there's so much bullshit around all of this. It's like a bastardized version of something that is very true and actually works. And people are absolutely misusing it. And they're absolutely being actually delusional in what they're doing. So if I could codify this for you in as short of a framework as I possibly can, the knowing and creating it and living from this place, because you can apply this to multiple areas of your life, is finding an area that you want to change, drawing a line in the sand, say not another day, not another second. We are going away from this bad thing and writing down the thing, whatever. The thing is that you don't want to get away. I'm not going to be an overweight person anymore. It's nope. And then once you write that down, you point all of your energy to whatever the opposite of that is. When I was sick with Crohn's, I'm not going to be the guy with Crohn's anymore. I am going to be the guy that is so healthy and so fit that he becomes known for being healthy and fit. That is a complete reversal. You will find that this does not work very well if you try to do a bunny hop. This is not a bunny hop technique. This is not something to do a small goal. This is like complete 180 total switch around in an area of your life that you really hate, that you're stuck in it. You've been broke your whole life. Okay, I'm going to be someone that makes 6 figures plus easily. It's just I'm going to be someone that's just a wealth generator. Like I'm going to become known for the ease at which money flows to me. It's a complete switch, and this is key. You can't don't play small. It won't work. It won't work. You have to choose what you actually want, like what you actually want to become. Focus all of your energy there, and then reinforce it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Because let's say you have the point of decision, that's when the wave starts. But the wave is very, very small, and you need it to be a tsunami. You need it to be a tsunami. And the only way to make it a tsunami is to reinforce it through good interactions, through people that have been there before, that have a lot of certainty, through listening to videos like this and all the other amazing creators on the internet, journaling, writing about it, shouting at yourself in the mirror. One of the places the mind is most susceptible to change is when you're in an extreme situation. So like if I'm cold plunging, I'll visualize who I want to be while I'm cold plunging, because the mind is more susceptible to, you can create change faster when you're under intensity. And that's why some of the things that happened to us when we were younger, when we were, you're in a high emotional state, your body remembers that. So we're trying to use the same mechanism, the same lever. Everyone knows this works in the incorrect direction. They just don't flip it on its head, reverse it, and then use it for the positive. Right? We all know we remember things and hold on to things that happen to us in a strongly painful state. We can all see areas in our life where we keep on running into the same stuckness because we have this story about ourselves. I'm just the fat guy. I'm just the fat guy. And we keep repeating that over and over. Like, listen to yourself, talk, especially if you have Crohn's or something like this. Just listen to your mind. No judgment. Just listen to it for a little while. You're going to find it reinforcing the story of how you're the fat guy, or why you're the fat guy or girl, or why you have Crohn's disease, and you're just a person with Crohn's disease over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. All you're doing is a reverse tsunami. You're just building the knowing. You're knowing very strongly in the opposite direction. And so that's what I'm saying is not, it sounds mystical and woo-woo, but all I'm saying is take this same thing that you're doing for the pain, for the negative, and just reverse it, flip it. The thing with this is when you do it, your friends and some people are probably going to think you are a little bit crazy. You're going to probably feel a little bit crazy because it is very weird to have one internal belief pounding so strongly and the external world not reinforcing it, or even looking like the complete opposite of what you believe on the inside about yourself. This always happens. You're not doing anything wrong. You're in what I like to call lag time. So you've got it in here. You know who you are in here. The external world is just catching up. So I want to encourage you, if you're in the middle of this right now, or you go to do this and you get 3 months in and it seems like nothing is happening and you feel sometimes worse or more crazy than you did before, you're probably not doing anything wrong. As long as you are taking actions that back up the internal reality. This is not about just sitting in your closet and picturing sunshine and rainbows and then doing all the same crap you've been doing and expecting a different result. No, you have to change the actions. The actions have to match the behavior that is in here. Like, how would that person act? I constantly ask myself, okay, if I wasn't sick, if I was a healthy AF guy, what is that person? What is that person doing? What does he do on a Saturday afternoon? How does he show up in this conversation? Who are people around me that I want to be like? What do they do? How do they interact with people? What are they saying about themselves? What do they eat for breakfast? Constantly reiterating. And this is going to be frustrating at first. You're not going to get it perfect on day one. Absolutely not at all. You're literally like creating kind of a new person here. So be gentle with yourself. Okay. You're doing great. You're doing better than you think you are. But this is not an overnight success process. It will look like overnight success, perhaps, and you will probably get called very lucky on the other side of it. But nobody who has done truly difficult or great things is ever going to talk down to you. If you tell them what you're doing, they're probably going to nod along and be like, yep, that makes sense. I think you're on the right path. I think you're on the right path. So you have to be careful, again, who you listen to. And frankly, I would encourage you not to tell many people what you're doing unless they are either A, very supportive, or B, you know that they've done something like this before, because people are going to look at you like you're insane. Ask me how I know. So you're building this knowing, right? As you build this, you are going to run into blocks inside of yourself. These are trapped emotional patterns, if you will. Again, I'm trying to avoid using very therapeutic or very spiritual language and just trying to explain it like I would to a 10-year-old. So these are things that maybe happened to you in your past, beliefs you have about yourself. And as you build this level of knowing into this new person, in order to create something new, the old must go. So really what this looks like is not, it's a point of, let's say the point of decision. I'm trying to see if my hand is on camera. The point of decision is over here, and people think it just goes up, right? There's a point of decision, and then you actually go down. It's going to feel like you're going backwards because you have to empty what is inside currently in order to build something new. You cannot just make a decision and go straight up unless you've already done the work and you're very, very clear, which most people are not. Like, we're all going to be doing this work for the rest of our lives, but there's some people that have already done a lot of work, and then the dip for them is probably going to be less because they don't have as much junk that they need to get rid of. Let me make this practical for you. When I had Crohn's disease, I believed that this was something that was totally out of my control. Health was out of reach for me. I was just unlucky, and there was nothing I could do about it. I had absolutely no responsibility over the outcome. Obviously, with that belief, I make a decision, but I have this belief. So I make the decision, and then I run into this belief. In order to get over Crohn's disease, I obviously have to get rid of this belief, right? If you believe that your choices have no impact on your health, then why are you even trying? And I'm not saying that it is 100% in your control, but if you watch any of my videos, we do have some control over, what we put into our mouths, if we exercise or not, how much we sleep, who we spend time with, to at least some degree. And then on a more macro level, if you zoom out, where we live, what we do for work, some of these things may be harder to change, but you still ultimately have at least some control and direction over these areas of your life. So I started to realize, this belief is incorrect. I have to let go of this belief in order to go up. You're going to have your own. You're going to have your own things that you run into that, quote unquote, trigger you. This is not usually a very pleasant experience. And that's why when I listen to people talking about how they're on their healing journey and it's sunshine and rainbows and I'm so happy and I'm just connecting with my inner chakras, I'm like, I don't know what it is you're doing, but it's not a healing journey, because healing journeys go down first. They go down, and that is not fun. So if you're talking about how you were on this healing journey and there's no down moment, a severe down moment, I know that you're probably full of shit. And I'm not trying to judge you, but whatever it is you're doing is not a healing journey. It's something else. And that's fine. You can do whatever you want. I'm just telling you, you're getting rid of things that have been stuck inside you and ways of believing that have been in there for a very long time. And getting rid of them and letting them out can honestly, frankly, feel like you're dying, because everything you used to think about yourself and how the world operates, you're letting go of. And that can feel like death, which does not feel good. And that's why people say ego death and all this jargon that people come up with, which is fine. We're just trying to avoid that. But if you make the decision and then it just feels like my life got worse, as long as you're taking the actions, this is why it is very, very important. Track the actions. Okay, I know that I have Crohn's disease. I know that exercising is good for me, at least in some way, shape, or form. I don't have a lot of energy right now, but I'm going to try and exercise for 5 to 10 minutes a day. In 3 months, I'm going to try and bump that up to 30. Cool. I know that eating an anti-inflammatory diet, or at least not going to McDonald's every day and drinking a bunch, is better for me. So all we're going to do right now is cut out fast food. Okay, cool. I cut out fast food. Now we're going to cut out alcohol for a while. Okay, cool. Now let's try this anti-inflammatory diet for a little while. Let's see if that works. Okay, we're going to plug and play and mix and match, try some. You're tracking actions. You're tracking behavior. I know that sleep is really important to me. I only sleep 5 to 6 hours a night right now. I got to change that. So over the next 3 to 6 months, I'm going to buy a few books on sleep. I'm going to buy some blackout curtains, do some different things, take some suggestions in this book, and fix my sleep. As long as you're taking the actions, even if it feels like you're going backwards, you are absolutely not. If you are a cup and you want to fill the cup with new tea, you first have to empty the cup. And I know that sounds dumb, but that's literally what's happening. And this is being honest, this is what helped me heal more than, if I wouldn't have done this, I would still be sick. It's just the truth. And the cool thing is once you do this, you're going to find a way of being and living that you never even thought was possible. Like I said, I don't want to spiritualize this or try and hype or any of that, but there is a version of you on the other side of this that you did not even think existed. And so those are the two pieces: forming the knowing, making a decision to create a new identity inside of yourself, reinforcing that decision over and over and over again, taking actions that align with that decision, and constantly learning and improving and growing. And then when you run into something, when something gets triggered inside of you because the path you're on, doing the work to heal that. And people always ask, well, what does doing the work mean? This is where therapy comes in: therapy, counseling, talk therapy, EMDR, journaling, learning to meditate. Honestly, even just working out, getting your body can really be helpful too, because this stuff is literally like stuck in your actual body. So when you work out, when you move, sometimes that can be very therapeutic. It looks different for everybody. Some people love nature, talking to a good friend who's very understanding. I would strongly, especially if you have Crohn's or colitis or something like that, and you're going through this process, absolutely get a counselor, a good one. It will help you a lot. Get a coach. If you have money, I'd hire 3 counselors. Like, do the courses, do the work. Do the thing that's in front of you that you're curious about trying. So if you're watching some YouTube videos and somebody really resonates with you and you're like, I think I want to work with that person, go try and work with them. If they're too expensive, you can't afford it, buy one of their courses, watch more of their YouTube videos. One of the best counselors I ever had, I heard about him on a podcast with another guy. This guy's very intense, very successful. And I was looking for a counselor, and I was like, that's my person. That's the guy I want to work with. Because if he can handle this guy, the guy that ran the podcast, he can handle me. Because I don't want to be babied. I don't want to be, talked down to. I want to be able to talk to someone who is going to be able to take what's going on inside of me, be honest with me, be firm with me, but also be gentle and kind. And so that was where my curiosity was leading. And I have done this for long enough now when I feel a pull like that, I just go towards it. I'm just like, okay, I guess we're doing that now. I guess we're doing that now. Sounds like a crazy way to live, but it's kind of fun.